Well, hello, good afternoon. Welcome to Sports Today. We're just minutes away from resumption of the second day's play and the fourth test between England and India. Of course, tantalizingly poised. It's really, really well poised. After India were asked to bat in overcast conditions, England were relentless against the Indian top order. And again, the Indian top order disappointed. Rohit Sharma, he's been among the better batsmen for India. He was dismissed early. KL Rahul, looking good, was dismissed early. Cheteshwar Pujara, after a 91, fine 91, um, just a few days back, he was dismissed cheaply as well. And Ajinkya Rahan is disappointing form. Continued. Ravindra Jadeja was put ahead, was slotted in ahead of Rahane, and Pant did not do much with the bat. And Rishabh Pant's erratic stroke play has continued to pose problems for him. But of course, Virat Kohli, he struck his second successive half century of the tour, and then that man Shardul Thakur, right? He came in and really changed the momentum of the game. He changed the momentum of the game. India were eventually bundled out for only 191, but he was his 57 there, the pace at which he got those runs, that rattled England. England would have probably wanted to bowl India out for 140, 150. They were in a precarious position when Shardul Thakur and Umesh Yadav came together. Umesh Yadav did well to support Shardul Thakur in that partnership, that onslaught from Shardul, but that had rattled England, and you could see the body language of the Indian fielders and the Indian pacers when they came out against England. Justin Bumrah removing Rory Burns and Haseeb Hamid, the two openers. A poor shot selection again, you'd say, from Haseeb Hamid. He was he there were no scoring opportunities for him, and then that horror shot from Hamid, resulting in his dismissal. But the big turning point of day one was the dismissal of Joe Root. Umesh Yadav, like Shardul Thakur, Umesh Yadav was also playing his first Test match of the tour, and he was he really got that wicket of Joe Root against the run of play. He was looking good. Joe Root was looking good. He was scoring runs. He's been in brilliant form throughout the series. 300 so far. He was looking so good. 21 runs. He would score 4 or 5 boundaries in that knock. But suddenly, there's 4 boundaries in 21 in his 21 runs, and suddenly the momentum has shifted. India 191 all out. England 53 for three, and now still trailing India by 138 runs with 7 wickets in hand. However, look at it this way: Rory Burns got runs in the first in the third Test match. Haseeb Hamid got runs. Of course, Joe Root got that century, and David Malan got runs as well. He's got off to another start. Craig Overton was sent in as an obvious night watchman, but there's Ollie Pope, there's Johnny Bairstow, there's Moeen Ali, there's Chris Woakes. There's plenty of batting still. There's still plenty of batting to come, but India will. I can see a few comments where India, Rohit is asking for his his wish list where he wants India to strike early, and that would be the ideal scenario for India to strike early and make more incisions into that England batting lineup. That's a no-brainer at this stage. You need to get wickets. You need to get more wickets because they were bowled out for 191. But this is what it does: 78 all out in the third Test match, 191 all out. Not a big first inning score, but the way that momentum shifted from 120 odd for seven to 191 all out, thanks to that onslaught from Shardul Thakur, that has lifted Indian spirits. And you could see that change in body language. You saw that in the third Test match. By the time India really got into the groove, England had already taken a lead, and then there was that partnership between Haseeb Hamid and Rory Burns, and of course the informed Joe Root to come in. But before that, David Malan came in and scored runs as well. So it was a difficult phase for India in the third Test match. But now, because of Shardul Thakur's knock, it has really put into perspective how India are fighting back so far after that top and middle order disappointment once again. Um, this is going to be a challenge for England as well because they really rallied around Joe Root. You take that 100 out of the equation in the first Test match, then you take that 100 big 100 out of the equation at Lords. Probably they would have lost by a bigger margin. So that has really helped England. They've really batted around Joe Root, especially third Test match. Of course, the others got runs, but it was really Joe Root's innings that sort of helped helped England help England stay afloat and really pose that daunting 400 odd after India were bundled off for 78. Couple of comments. Surya is asking, can you comment Can you comment on non-slip fielding, easy singles given? Again, an issue with lengths. Many fielders don't run after the ball um, with intent. Bumrah, Pujara. So look, in any setup, right? Not just with Indian team, in any setup, you'll have a couple of fielders who are slower than the rest. And yes, I agree that there are some fielders one not as quick as the others, but you'd still expect singles. This is the most critical aspect. You've seen how England, why they have also managed to do well is because they have retained batsmen on strike, and it takes bowlers that kind of time to work a batsman over, and that's why it's so important. In the context of the game, you might only think, okay, it's just a single, but there is a bigger context around it. Bowlers take their time to work over batsmen, and they want the same batsman to be on strike, especially in Test cricket, because they want to get those 3-4 deliveries at him, and suddenly that plan falls into place. But yes, there's somewhere I believe that close fielding there has to be a little sharper for the Indians, and you have some really good fielders in that lineup. Virat Kohli is super sharp, or Ravindra Jadeja is really agile. So is KL Rahul. Rohit Sharma can be sharp as well. So they have some really good fielders as well among the pacers as well. You have Mohammad Siraj, someone like Mohammad Siraj who really works hard on his fielding. Spinner for Malan is good choice. Listen, this is Blessed been Theo asking this question. It's another interesting aspect. You look at the left-handers in the England batting lineup. You have Gavin Malan, Moeen Ali. That's that's quite a few. There's four left-handers in that batting lineup. But Gavin Malan and Moeen Ali, of course, the more critical of those two. You would have probably that there were some questions asked on the fact that Ashwin wasn't played. Ashwin wasn't included in that team, and Virat Kohli said four left-handers in that England squad, and that's why he's backing Ravindra Jadeja. That question for Blessing Pure that would come into play on a day 4 or 5 pitch. So that is why this passage of play on day two is so critical. The first session is so critical because India would want to take that lead. England would want to take a decent 100, 120 run lead after putting India in, bowling them for 191. Things fell into place for them with the ball, but then those early blows, including that of Joe Root, that was so critical. Now they'll rely on Darwin Malan to really anchor that innings alongside the likes of Pope, Besto, Moeen Ali, and Chris Wokes. Again, with batting pretty deep in this test match with Chris Wokes coming in to bolster that lineup there. So that's that. Then we'll just wait. 3:30 is when the test match starts. The day two's play resumes. This is going to be a very very interesting passage of play. Like I said, very very closely poised. This test match is really closely poised. England trailing India by 138 runs, 7 wickets in hand. Yes, that seems like England have that slight edge, but remember, their most informed batsman, Joe Root, has been sent back by Umesh Yadav, playing his first test match of the tour. Beautiful delivery, that wicket coming against the run of play. Joe Root was looking to score quick runs. And did look that the pitch had eased out a bit, and we had to wait and watch how this pitch behaves now because, when you saw Shardul Thakur play some of his strokes very confidently, especially when he was striking those sixes, he was pretty comfortable. He looked pretty comfortable. There was a lot of bounce and movement early on, but with the sun coming out, it became a little easier to bat. So it remains to be seen if the sun is out, if the pitch is flattened out. It won't be as easy for the India Pacers, but they'll be high on confidence. The tails would be up, and they'll be raring to go at England's batsmen. Well, then that's that. We'll wait and watch how this all unfolds. Boria Majumdar will of course join you at 5:30 for updates on the first session, and then I'll come back to you at the end of day two to see how the two teams have stacked up on what promises to be a very, very good day of cricket, of Test cricket, high adrenaline Test match in one of the cards. This looks like something very, very exciting to watch out for. Thank you so much. Do subscribe to Sports Today. I'll join you back very soon. Have a good night.